Apex Racing TV, and welcome to the VRS Sprint Championship here from Spa-Francorchamps. And I'm pretty sure I just butchered that name incredibly bad, but it is Tyler Maxson alongside Austin Knight here tonight. Austin, welcome back to the VRS commentary booth, and welcome to Spa, the host of the 24 Hours of Spa, which I think is either coming up this week or next week. Not too sure about that one, but yeah, it's 24 Hours Spa right around the corner, so a lot of these drivers trying to get into great practice here in Spa.
Great practice is definitely being awarded right now in our qualifying. The top four are all within half a second of each other, so it's going to be a close one at the top right now as qualifying is going on behind us. You can hear some cars going around, but I am super pumped for this race because we're here at Spa, the mecca of motor racing. High speed, twisty, technical, hilly, and just utterly beautiful. We got El Rouge and Rowdy on that wonderful hill. That will cause some awesome racing and just some awesome shots for us viewing this race. Also, pit lane. It's not the GT pits that they've been practicing on. It will be the F1 pits, so that will throw in a little bit of a loop on pit lane strategy, where the pit lane entrance is at the bus stop chicane, not the GT entrance after La Source. So I think qualifying just ended, so let's bring it to the grid.
So we'll just quickly go ahead. There we go. Grid is up on your screen, and it is Patrick Heinrich who's going to start on the pole position alongside Jordan Wickes. Philip Oldick starts in third alongside René Zettel. If Van Genshenten, Kyle Dunlop, and Patrick Richter. Alessi Tassi starts in eighth alongside Nicholas Assoff. Niels Benedict will start in 10th, and he'll round out your top 10. And the rest of the grid will go ahead and roll through here now.
Yeah, starting in 11th, it's Val Rulba, followed by Adam Pilo, Renz de Cox 7, Matthias Van Holkenen, Xavier Sanchez, Miguel Molina, Andrew Ruse, we saw him last week, Diogo Pinto 2, Paul Costa 2, Heinz Braun, Jens Horman, Ronald Vrierge, Mac Miller, once again, not the rapper. We saw him racing in, we saw him have a pretty tough race in Watkins Glen. Hopefully he has a better race this time. John White, Matt Gloss, David Toth, Christopher Monroe, Leslie Bach, Jose Roman Bula, and at the back is Laurie Kolkinson.
A lot of those drivers not setting times, so a lot of them will not have a starting time to go off here today. We do have one more championship driver in the session. That is in the form of Patrick Heinrich. He starts on the pole. Not any sort of surprise there. Obviously, being a world championship driver is definitely a very, very fast driver indeed. And he starts out of grid number 1. So, but the grid is super, super close, though. I think we had 4 drivers within 2/10 of each other. So that top 4 battle should definitely be a good one indeed. But as the field gets rolling, we get ready for a very, very short pace lap here in Spa.
I must say, it's an all-Audi front 2 rows. The Mercedes dominance is definitely not here at the track. Just like in the 24 Hours of Spa last year, it was an Audi-dominated front field, and these times that these Audis can bring out is just insane. But the tire life on them is not the best compared to the Merc, so expect Kyle Dunlop or Yves Vandergaten back in 5th and 6th to try to make a few moves after the pit stop or late into the stint. Once again, there is going to be a pit stop during this race as the Porsche paint car leads off and goes into the pits. Both Audis on the front row. Patrick Heinrich, Jordan Weeks is lining everyone up as the lights go red, and it's green, green, green. Here we go, racing in Spa.
Yeah, Patrick Heinrich is going to lead him down into turn 1, and it looks as if the field is going to stay single file all the way through. Adam Kilo looking to make up a few positions there. He tries the outside, and I think he will make up a few positions there. A bit of contact there.
That is Matthias Van Hecken. He's the one that spun around a few other cars involved in that. Xavier Sanchez was caught in that. Let's check that replay. This is Jose Ramambula. He's coming up to the source. He's going to be behind it, so we can see what has happened. That yellow car's right on board with him, and
looks to me that he got out of that one cleanly, so I think his timing screen just playing up a little bit on us. But let's jump back here. Patrick Henrich, he's got just about 0.4 of a second over Jordan Wex, and they have started to pull away just a little bit there from Rene Zettel. So
yeah, Rene Zettel, he actually made a move coming into the source, and he got a position up already on Eve Vandergaten. Philippe Oldak has actually lost 2 places from where he qualified, so that is very surprising. Looking at Mac Miller right now, he's under pressure from a few guys, but everyone's just trying to keep it calm right now and trying to keep it safe. But there's cars all around as they're going through Poulan right now. Poulan is a fast left-hander. You gotta lift off, and a few of these cars have to tip in the brakes, but I know these Audis can just plow through that. And if you have the right setup, you don't even need to lift off at all. Village right now, Tasai is making it look very nice as he's leading out this little group. He's trying to catch up to Richard. And you're going to see a lot of red on the tower. That's people going off track. It's very easy to go off track here. And it's Bob.
Yeah, definitely a very easy place to go off track. It's kind of a heavy incident point track, being that you can't go off track and pick up instant points very, very quickly. So these drivers are definitely going to have to worry about that.
As everyone just completely just went wide on oh, the BWT car, the Carl Motorsport car of Rensdekot jumps up the inside of the bus stop chicane of that Mercedes of Rula, and he makes the move for P12. Great job by him.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely good from him. And, sorry if we have a little bit of audio quality issues. I'm just going to quickly just try to adjust that just a bit. So tell me if that's a little bit better for you guys watching the broadcast. But back to the action here. It is a battle for third place. Van de Getten is trying to go by Zetzel, so Zetzel having to try to make the inside line work. Van de Getten trying on the outside, and I think he's just going to be able to get him done under braking. Nice overtaking move from him.
Looking at Zettel in the battle for third. Vandergaten is ahead of him. Goes a little bit off track, kicks up a little bit of dirt. Now this is a very interesting. We're going to see the Audi pace versus the Mercedes pace around here in Poulan. And both of them taking a very different line. The Mercedes is a little bit like a boat if you have it set up wrong, but both these guys are at the top level of their game, so they're going to have a right amount of setups. But as they're going through Village, we're actually going to switch back to David Toth. He's got Mercedes, BMW on his side, and the Audi just sneaks it up the inside. Great side-by-side, clean racing by both drivers, especially with that little ghosted incident. But David Toth moves up to 22nd place.
David Toth moving up a little bit, but your leader is still starting to extend his gap a little bit. Patrick Henrich really starting to extend that lead over Jordan Weeks. So he is definitely not having any troubles out front leading. He is the #1 car. He is a world championship driver and has over 7,000 iRating. So he's definitely a super, super quick driver. And I think if he can just time everything right, and Weeks is not able to move up in the pit stop basis, I think that the race should be able to go into Henrich.
He actually sets a 2:13.72, so that's one of the fastest laps I've ever seen around Spa. Nicholas Benedict in the BWT Audi. He's under pressure by both Mercedes right now, and that battle, they're going to go side by side through El Rouge and Radion. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your popcorn, because this is going to get wild. Here, thankfully, that was Kyle Dunlop sitting behind Nicholas Oskoff, avoiding that massive incident. I can tell you in the lower splits, that would not have happened.
Yeah, definitely not would have happened. Everyone pretty much in these top splits is just, you know, knows to give everyone else room. That is the biggest thing, is that a lot of these drivers they need room to be able to race, and these top split drivers do definitely provide that to each other. This is an Audi 4-car group right now. Is down the inside goes.
Oh, we got a spin.
Tassi will go down the inside of Richter, and Richter not wanting to give that move up. Tassi made a little bit of a late move on him, but still, nonetheless, was definitely able to get that move done.
He's watching the lights. He's not happy about that. He lost the back end, and there was contact, so that's going to affect his safety rating and a little bit of iRacing, but you can tell. Oh, Resta Cox spinning it, and Puan got onto the curb, and he's reversing out drag. Almost got a collision with Jens Hamann, who I believe is that BMW that almost came on to him. Yes, it was almost a massive collision right there. Thankfully, there was not a major collision. It was just a one-car getting off track, but no driver got a massive T-bone.
So luckily for them, they were able to escape pretty much unscathed there. So Adam Pila really having a bad section of quarters there. Just lost it on the entry. It's very, very easy to do. And right now, you can see Moru is having a little bit of issues with the driver ahead of him, with John White, who's having a bit of connection issues right now, at least on our end of the sides. I'm sure that Moru, I think I pronounced that correctly, will definitely be having some issues, not quite being able to push as deep into the corners as he wants to, possibly, knowing that he does have a BMW that is just kind of flashing in and out.
Yeah, you see him weaving, actually, trying to set up the dummy to Christopher. Going to jump up to Ren Zettel, and pull back ahead of him. So they're going up. Here. It's actually been very wide. I don't know if that was a braking zone mistake. We just didn't want to have anything he's flashing the light, so he's probably not happy from David Toth in the braking zone from the light flashing in. In these cars, you can't flash lights, so most drivers displease their pleasure by that, as we have a move for fourth of battle between Philip Oldak and Rene Zettel is heating up as they're heading up into Brussels right now. This slow hairpin of a corner, very fast compared to the Source, but one of the slower corners in this fast section as they're going through Dornay corner and up to Puan. It's Audi v Audi, so who will be the better Audi in this case? Currently, that is Ren Zettel right now, as he's actually gaining a little bit of time from his rival back behind, and I think we have a crash in No Name.
I believe we do. Here's a replay of it, I believe. And this is not what we had the issue with. I'm going to continue to
Yeah,
check. Here we go.
The car spun around on the back end.
Woo! So that was the... I can't quite see who that was. Let's try to see again on who was the car crashed ahead.
It was the
obviously
car, and I think I remember the name. Renston Cog, is that the 11th car?
It may have been. Let me try to grab it. No, it was not. It was one of the Audis. So let me try and find this and sort this out for you. Let's jump back to live racing action, though.
Well, we got Toth and Miller going side by side. Miller almost full sending it around the outside like his team, but Toth holding it in the braking zone and making the move. But here comes Mac Miller and Toth side by side into La Sorseco. Who's going to be the last late breakers? Miller's going to take it easy, and Toth's going to hold it around the outside, and a great run by Toth in the braking zone of both corners to get the overtake on Mac Miller for P16.
He's doing a great job. Everyone really keeping these battles close, especially throughout the midfield. Not seeing too big of gaps at all. Petra Kienerich, he has started to extend his lead in that pure racing team Audi. So he is really starting to stretch his legs out and just extend his gap lap after lap. Jordan Weeks is sitting down in second. He's got a gap over Van der Nechten. So he has a bit of a gap now back to him. These front few starting to spread away, but then everyone else, pretty much they're in groups now. If you look down on the timing gantry there, you can just see there's groups of drivers together, and then there's kind of decent-sized gaps between them. A little bit smaller than what we're used to. Most I'm seeing now is about 2.5 seconds, so we are still seeing some pretty close battles all the way to the field.
Yeah, Patrick Header is pulling out a, let's see, 2.7-second gap. But we got a massive battle for 10th between Cruz, Renz, and Rula. Right now, Rula actually pressuring the Mercedes of Renz in that Audi. And like I said, the Audis are very quick around corners compared to the Mercedes, so he's going to have his advantages in some sections. We got a crash in the bus stop chicane. That is Sai.
Sai. See what happened to him.
We're gonna launch him on it. Oh, he loses it back and it goes into the wall. And he's parked a big instant for Sai, one of our top runners. He had an instant like that last round in Walking Glen, and he's the first one to make a pit stop the second one to make a pit stop in this race.
So there's a lot of time from now, for sure. Not obviously what he wants to be doing at this point in the race. Before we have any more pit stops or anything like that happening for these drivers, so he's really got to have a good amount of pace if he wants to make up. Also for the damage that he has, being no draft or anything like that to help him out, he's definitely going to struggle just a little bit.
Yeah. This pack of 3 now in the battle for 9th place. It was 10th, but with that instead from Sai, who was in the top 10, they all upped the place. But all 3 of these guys, the Mercedes are starting to show their tire life as the Audis are starting to lose some pace. So this is where the Mercedes kind of have the advantage in the late stints. You can see them start pulling away in most of the corners, but they also have a top speed advantage compared to the Audis, but the Audis are still so nimble around these corners that once they get behind a few Mercedes, they're going to start getting a little bit aggressive. So VL Rula is going to try a few things right now through Candice. And you can see him getting closer, but then he loses his advantage outside of Blanchimont. But he's on the back end right now of Car.
Yeah, and we will just go ahead now as your leader works his way here through the final corner. Just going to quickly give you an on-board lap here with this driver. So let's go ahead and go on board here with Patrick Henrich.
He's going down the front straight right now into the 100 point, bringing around 75 meters through the source. Great on the gas. Rides out on that curve. Extend that corner just a bit much. Then it's a long run down into the famous El Rouge and Radion corner. Full on gas. Hops over that curve. You might see him get a slowdown penalty for that if he's not careful. And down the long, the famous chemistry saw the DRS line that can pop up right there. And down right here into, you know, these corners always mess with me. But I know this corner is Bruxelles right now. This one is a very tricky corner. We saw a few cars spinning right here, trying to overextend the line, and the famous no-name left-hand flip. Not really much of a flip. And this part of the track is usually bathed in orange on F1 weekends. It's Pouon. Little tap on the brakes and fast run through up into 5th gear and coming into campus. Outside campus, it's a double right-hander. These 2 corners are very awkward and momentum killers, and it's Copa Paul Ferreira right now. And then it's a long, curved run. It's a straight, not a straight, but it feels like a straight in an F1 car. here comes Blanchimont, which is this kink right now, but most people confuse Blanchimont as this corner. It's actually not Blanchimont, and up to the bus stop chicane, which is the slowest corner on this track. Brings it out, gets on the grass, and that is a lap around Spa-Francorchamps with Patrick Henrik.
Yeah, so nice lap from him. Thanks for taking us a lap here, Austin. Yeah, the F1 cars definitely have a bit of an easier time around the circuit, I'm sure, than these GT cars, being that they do have so much downforce. And one thing I would also like to add, I am sure that during the F1 weekends, this track is, whole track is bathed in orange because, let's be honest, being so close to over, pretty much everyone from the Netherlands will come over. But yeah, definitely some great battles in the GT cars as well. And also some good things to look forward to in the next few weeks coming up with the 24 Hours of Spa. Definitely one that I'm looking forward to watching this year. And it should be an absolutely awesome race, being how difficult this track is. And no multi-class setting to have any issues with for all the drivers.
Yeah, it's going to be all the GT cars that you see right here. It's all GT3, so we got Audis, we got Mercedes, we got Ferraris, we got BMWs, and then we got McLarens as well. It's actually, speaking of McLaren, there's not a McLaren in this field.
And I think that kind of says something for the McLarens that, from what I've heard at least, from the drivers, it's a very difficult car to drive, and I've driven it some myself, and I do agree with that. It's a very difficult car to drive, and even more difficult to get fast, as we do have a battle now for 18th place. We also got another battle for second here. It's just have a second now between Weeks and Van der Nechten. So those two really having a fight here. It should heat up here in just a few moments' time. Sector 1 was just set fastest Sector 1 of anyone on the racetrack for if Van der Nechten. So he's really starting to make strides in advancement towards your second place of Jordan Weeks.
Yeah, funny thing about Eve, he's a B-class driver compared to Jordan, who is a A-class driver. His I-rating is actually a bit higher than Jordan's. Eve's I-rating is at 6,492, as Jordan is in the 5,000. So Jordan making a name for himself, saying that I-rating is not a for sure thing of pace. But a driver I do want to highlight is the guy behind them, Philippe Oldak, up 15 places from where he qualified.
Just going to confirm that here by the overlay. No, actually, the overlay is a little bit glitched out there. He's actually, yes, he is up. What that is right there, and you can't see this on your side. I wish I did have a graphic for it, but that is off where they should be. He actually started in P3 at the start of this race, but the battle is definitely heating up here. Van der Nechten is really putting the pressure on Weeks now. Long Spa corners here.
Yeah, Eve and Jordan having this battle now. The Audi is pulling away just a bit, but you see Jordan pulling him back in the straighter parts of the track. But Eve in these corners is pulled out that half-second gap to 0.8 seconds, but through Blanchimont, expect that gap to fall down with that Mercedes power.
Definitely, the gap is just going to start to close in. There's a lot of straightaways here at Spa that the Mercedes can make up its time, but that just shows how strong the Audi is through the corners. That it can make all that time back up without having too much of an issue for it. So that just shows the strengths of the Audi in the corners. That would just show how much of a diverse track this Spa circuit is. Pretty much anything can do well here, but the strongest two are definitely the Mercedes and the Audis. So definitely keep an eye on those throughout the rest of the racing going into the 24 hours of Spa.
See most of the people starting their pit stops right now. The leaders have not gone in, but our highest guy, has gone into the pit stops, and he's joining the 3 others in the pit stops right now. So pit stop strategy is going to be coming into play as the battle for second is coming down to half a second as they're coming down the Kemmel Straight.
This is the battle really dropping. The gaps there starting to close in, and Van der Nechten is definitely having a pretty good run of things here. He's closing in, but he just loses time in every single corner compared to the Audi of weeks ahead of him. So that just shows the Audi is definitely got the strength on the Mercedes. Even though the straightaways are so long, the Audi's just able to outpower it. And that just shows how strong the Audi is through the middle of the corners, and is really able to keep that gap pretty much maintaining throughout the course of the lap.
Now it's also about consistency, because the Audi can wear a little bit more as the battle for 20th is heating up between another Audi and a Mercedes of Lula and Sanchez, and we might see a tail of the tape between these two hop up again for P20. And that Audi pulling away from No Name, which I believe some people started calling it Jackie Ick's corner right now, which is kind of surprising as they're flying through Kuan.
In my opinion, though, for that corner, for how many people call it No Name Corner, they might as well just name it No Name Corner, because it would be a very suiting name, because that's what everyone calls it anyway, so there wouldn't be any change need be for that one. So definitely have to submit that into the Spa organizers and see maybe we can just get that corner name changed.
I think it was a petition to side Jack to make it Jackie X, as Andrew Ruse, the car behind him, was Reds, and he actually went into the pits for P10. So Reds regarding his pit stops. Leaders have not gone into pits once more. So we are on board with Zettel, and Richter is behind him for the battle for 5th.
Yeah, so Zettel is really quick here in the Audi. And he's also got an Audi of Richter behind him, but he's just able to keep him just far enough out. Obviously, you can see there not wanting to give him any sort of slipstream whatsoever.
That if this was a league race, that would have been looked at very bad. That was a double move on the straight. Not the most clean racing right here between these two on the straights here on iRacing. That is not penalized, but the F1 games, you will be penalized for a double move on the straight.
And definitely penalized. Even in the real world, that would have been looked at by the race stewards, and at least been reviewed in some way. Possibly a penalty would have been acted upon for that. But battle for second, still not going anywhere. It's about half a second now between Weeks and Van der Nechten. So
look at the time that Weeks is falling to Van der Nechten in throughout Kuan in the high-speed course. Mercedes definitely has the advantage, but Van der Nechten all the way through Village has lost already 2/10 of time in those slower, more places, but those Weeks going off track right there. Both of them are at 15 incident points right now, and I must say Patrick Henrich only has 2.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely a bit of a difference there between the drivers as they work their way through the chicane. We'll see if anyone fights for the pit lane this time. No one does, so they will extend it for at least another 2 minutes here. Should be expecting pit stops pretty much from the 25-minute mark.
Usually in our series, we see pit stops, most of the field go from 25 to 30. We'll have a few undercut attempts from the 20th from people who are going half and half. Some people like to coffee that way, some people like to pit stops that way, as most of these guys usually go a little bit over the 20-minute mark and under fuel just a little bit, trying to lower that time to a crawl. stops. That is Christopher Monroe, but bound for second. Down to 3/10. Weeks and Vandergatten. Vandergatten closing up on Weeks, but as they get into that corner section, Vandergatten is just going to have to bide his time and just stay as consistent as possible and try to force Weeks into a mistake.
He's riding on board here on the nose camera of Vandernechten. Weeks still able, look at the gap that he's just able to pull on the tighter corners. I think it's due to the fact that the Audi has a little bit more off the corner than the Mercedes does.
Well, he's lost a lot of time out of No Name, and coming into Pua, we've seen the Mercedes have a great run out of here as that time started to fall right there, and I believe Weeks made a mistake coming out of No Name. Feeling the pressure, just having feel his tires go as Eves closed that gap down to 4/10. Now this is where Weeks has that advantage, and it's fair. Yeah, it went from 3/10 to 4/10 in just one corner between the two, but the gap is as it's closer than ever throughout the race, and he's going to have the slipstream and the pace through Francorchamps right here, so it's definitely a story to watch as they're coming down into the pit lane.
So we'll see some riders head down to the pit lane here very, very soon.
Yeah, Patrick's in the Patrick is not going
stayed
to
out. So he stayed out. All the drivers actually stayed out. So they're going to go at least to the 29-minute mark before they come in for their stops. That's kind of an extend to the usual fuel that we see. I'm just going to check super quickly to see what the fuel restrictions are this week. Just see if they did change it due to being about a week away from the Spa-Francorchamps.
iRacing fuel. Also, fuel maps can be changed in this car. You got 3, 2, and 1. 3 is the fastest, 1 is the slowest, 2 is the normal one. So I wouldn't be surprised if 3 of the top guys are in 3 right now, but Weeks and Vandergatten. Weeks just sitting on that bumper. Vandergatten, I think he knows that Vandergatten, I think he knows that Weeks is going to be faster than him in the course, and he's just going to sit there and wait for his time and try to force some mistake from Weeks. So great mind games being played by Vandergatten. Just sitting there, not forcing an incident, and just sitting there being safe. As they come through No Name, half a second separates them out for a second.
Yes, so just half a second separating Weeks and Vandernechten. So he is starting to pull away just a little bit from the last lap time there. We'll keep an eye though. Let's see if your leader dives in the pit lane. We're seeing a few other drivers dive in. This is also the battle for a 10th place. So David Toth trying to get by Hens Braun. So in the Hens Braun in the Mercedes is doing a great job to defend there from the Audi of David Toth, but Toth has definitely got some good runs there. You can see he's got that car just hooked up so well through the high-speed corners, which is really where he needs to be good. That's where the Audi loses to the Mercedes. So the fact that he is able to keep it up through those corners definitely says something.
Absolutely planted on the corner right now, and yep, Patrick Hendricks is in the pits.
Patrick Hendricks into the pits. Jordan Weeks. If Vandernechten. Let's see if you're 4th place. You got Philip Oldek jumps in. Rene Zeltel, Patrick Richter, Kyle Dunlop, Nicholas Asklof, Andrew Ruse. Let's see if Hens Braun and David Toth jump in as well. I'm sure that they will.
Yeah, both these guys have not gone to pits. Oh, Braun's made a mistake. Braun's made a mistake. Went extremely wide in the braking zone. Wanted to avoid an incident, but he's lost a lot of time to David Toth, and Toth is up 16 places from where he qualified, the biggest mover of this race. And I am looking at the right part of my timing screen for that fact, but you see all these guys in the pits. It's hectic in the pit lane right now as Eve, Vandergatten, and Weeks are resuming their battle for 2nd place. A little bit slower this time, so we're going to see that Mercedes actually roar down the chemistry and have an advantage for 1/10 separating. This is going to be the move for 2nd. He's closing in on that IPF Force Audi right there. Weeks defending on the inside, Eve around the outside. They're side by side. We got a drag race here in Belgium. And who's going to be the last of the late breakers? Eve's got the front nose in there. Can Jordan hold it? He's actually pressuring him onto the thing, and he spun it. Jordan has spun it on the curbs. He had the room on the inside, and hopefully it doesn't reverse onto the track. As we got noticed side by side, we got a ding-dong battle for fourth place between Zettel and Richter. Richter coming in at the end of that. It is utter chaos at the end of the Kettle Straight of this pit lane massacre stage.
Yeah, so we had a bit of two different incidents happen there in a pretty close proximity to each other. Weeks was all up on the curb, was spun around, kind of put the blame there on Vander Nekton because he did kind of squeeze him a bit too much down onto the curb, in my opinion.
There was room. I guess
there was definitely room, but definitely could have given him a little bit more room. In my opinion, kind of a racing incident. But we also had another little incident between Zettel and Richter. Richter there ended up going for a nice little ride across the grass, and both of them, though, are able to continue. Weeks is continuing as well. He's back in 7th place, but Weeks definitely way lower than he wants to be.
He's 5 places down from where he qualified. He started, I believe, in the 2nd row. He's not had a great race this time. He's just been moving downwards on the field. That battle with Vander Nekton was a tough one, and Vander Nekton just had the power down the Kettle Straight to make that move work and stick. And unfortunately, someone in chat, I believe, Bobby Childs, shout out to Bobby, he gave us a little bit of insight with the Audi that I can just turn on you in any moment and just absolutely snap oversteer. We absolutely saw that. If it's not on the line, it's going to be hard to control, so thank you, Bobby, with that information on the Audi's handling.
Yeah, thanks again, Bobby. One of the regulars to the Arithmetic Sports Car Series, live on Monday nights, live on Impact Racing TV. So definitely giving us a nice little insight to the Audi and its handling characteristics. And I would have to agree with every single thing that he said there. I've got pretty much experience in every single GT3 car except for the Ford, because I don't go back to the prehistoric ages to drive the Ford. But we're looking at now a 3-car battle. This is between Richter, Dunlop, and Weeks. You know Weeks is fast. He was just up in 2nd place, so he will definitely be trying to make quick work of these drivers. It's a Mercedes and an Audi, so he will have a little bit of an issue, possibly trying to get by the Audi, being that they aren't in the same equipment. He's really going to have to outdrive them. Can't worry about the car to help him move up that position. He's going to have to be on raw pace if he wants those positions.
Yeah, Jordan Weeks definitely going to go for that recovery drive of the century to try to get back up into that podium position. He's got Kyle Dunlop and Richter ahead of him. Richter leading off that Mercedes, so he's going to have a little nice slipstream battle to catch up with Dunlop down the front straight, and that's going to help him a little bit. But also, I can't just say that, oh my goodness, what's happening back here.
Look at this. This is about a 5-6 car scrap for, I think that goes up to 16th place. Yes, it does. So it's Christopher Monroe who leads over Niels Benedict. Verwici in 18th. Then it's Beulah, Holman, and Mac Miller will round out the end of that train. But that is a big train of cars that are all working their way through this Spa circuit and really going for it here. None of them, from what I'm looking at on the time screen, not looking to get any of them any sort of move whatsoever.
Yeah, it looks like Christopher Maloon and Miguel Molina are having a little bit of a scrap up ahead at the top of this, as that is the Benedict car. No, that's not Benedict, that is the Maru car and Molina up there for the mouth for 16th right there. They're side by side in the braking zone. Monroe staying on the inside, keeping defensive, and he's going to still lead out, and that is a Ferrari. One of the Ferraris on this field, and he's leading out this massive pack, and that there is VRS defending on that inside. So we're up for the battle for fourth. Zettel and Richter going side by side. It's going to be the Audi defending on the inside right now. Getting onto that curve, and Zettel ahead of Richter. Ooh, big bit of oversteer.
Yeah, so Kyle Dunlop starting to attack Richter here, so definitely going to be looking possibly to make him a move and get up into that 5th spot. So this right here is a 3-car battle for 5th, but it's about to turn into a 3-car battle for 4th as they're catching up to Rene Zechtel just ahead of them, so they are starting to close that gap. So this could be a battle for 4th here, but there's only 5 minutes left, so we're only going to see a few laps left here in Spa. Not too much time left for these drivers to get any moves done, but let's go back to this battle for 17th place, because this is the battle on the racetrack right now.
Yeah, this is an absolute train and an absolute blunderbuss of a battle right now. Cars going into Liza. I've never seen on the edge, trying to find any advantage as this Ferrari of Monroe is leading out Benedict, Burrish, Wula, Holman, and Miller. All of them almost within a second of each other at the start, but everyone can clearly read the license plate of the guy ahead of them. No, most of these cars don't have license plates, but here it comes Benedict around the outside going into campus. He's going to have the inside advantage, and that is a clean overtake by Benedict. What a move out of Kuan. He had the run right there, and he used the Audi's minimalness to get around Benedict. Goes off track just a little bit, and now Monroe is stuck in between a rock and a hard place as they fly out of Colby Paul Ferrer. The BMW of Verez on the back of the Ferrari of Monroe. Looking good. Monroe defending onto the inside as they head through the Blanchard corner. And now this tight left-hand king over lifting off and riding on the front of this Monroe. And now we get back at the raging W of Verez. And Verez swinging around the outside. There's a massive collision in the background through the bus-up chicane in the braking zone. And Verez swinging around the outside, had the inside line advantage, and made it count in the braking zone. I believe that was Hoffman who got caught out in there, but they're spewing all over the track as they're coming into La Source. And it looks like Monroe's going to try to make it, Bula is going to try to make a move through La Source as well, and try to find it on the front straight, but unfortunately, no Bula.
Yes, these drivers just going at it here in the final few closing stages of this race. Looking at about another 2 laps to go, I'm saying, before we do see that. But your leader, Henrich, is about an 8.5 second gap. So
side by side.
Side by side, it's Beulah down the inside.
No, it's not Beulah, that was Monroe and Viraj under pressure by the Ferrari that he just passed with the Ferrari with that front speed. Overdrive that he got down the Campbell Straight was almost as powerful to get past it, but now Beulah through Bruxelles is going to try to hold it around the outside, gets into his back bumper just a little bit, is going to have to back off, and now he's under pressure from Mac Miller on his rear. Oh my goodness.
That's Peyo Costa, who will reset back to the pit lane, so something happened to him. Let's get a quick replay of that, then we'll jump back here to get a live action. So he's heading through Funlex. He's going through no-name corner and just loses it up on the curve. So easy to do, and into the tire barrier he goes. So easy to do, but he does semi get out of there with a little bit less damage. He does have to reset back to the pit lane anyway. There's only 2 minutes left, so he won't lose too much position for the time. But he is in for one of the retirements in this race.
Coming down out of Coffre and up to Blanchard Moreau, leading out Mueller and Villa for the bout for right now. We're switching it up right here. So these three really pretty separate, but this is a battle to look out for as the white flag waves here in Spa.
As the white flag is out. And we get ready now. We're on the last lap of the race. So Henrich is going to be, if he can just survive these last few bits of the lap, will be your winner. This is the battle we need to look at right here. Richter is only 6 tenths behind Setzel, but Dunlop is only a 10.5 behind Richter. So you know that he'll be trying to make a move, and if he tries to make a move, I'm sure Weeks will go with him as well. So this is pretty much ever pounding on Richter now. He's got 2 drivers that want to get him here just behind, and he's also trying to catch the driver ahead.
Dunlop way off track. He's actually losing time to Richter right now. And as they're going through Puan, Jordan Weeks trying to keep all of his speed that he can to keep up to these guys as they're heading into campus. Unfortunately, he's just going to be at the tail end of this train, and he's just going to have to rely on these guys battling it out for 4th and 5th right there. But it's pretty much separated, so keep your eyes on the battle for 6th between Kyle Dunlop and Jordan Weeks. Dunlop going a bit wide from off-road. Hopefully none of them pick up a slowdown penalty. That would just be disastrous for the battle, because slowdowns are just killer in any way to all battles, and just a massive safety hazard as well. So coming up into the bus-up chicane for one last time. Weeks actually send it, and he's going to try to hold it onto the inside, but it's going to be a drag race at the end. But Dunlop's going to keep out Jordan Weeks. Great battle in that massive field, but the story of the race is Patrick Hendricks taking top spot here in Spa.
Yes, Patrick Hendricks, great job from him. That's a pole and a win here in Spa.
He's a world championship driver, so it was kind of given that he would do that. Now I might see a little bit of driver antics at the end of this race.
Just battle.
Miller, though, is going to hold it out after he takes another ball stop chicane. This is Lauren Coxon. Started 11 places up from what they qualified, so great race from Miller right there.
Let's wait just here for the final. Run you quickly through your race results. I don't have a lot of time today, as I do have to jump up to the BSR MX5 live stream here, coming up on the iRacing Esports Network in just about 15 minutes time, so be sure to tune in to the iRacing Esports Network so you don't miss out on any of the action. So be sure to check out Apex Racing TV here for the final races that we have coming up this week. Some other great series and some great races continuing throughout this week. And the results are now up on your screens. Go ahead and take it away, Austin.
It's Patrick Hendricks taking the win, followed by Yves Vandergaten, Philippe Oldag, Ren Zettel, Patrick Richter, Kyle Dunlop, Jordan Weeks, Nicholas Askoff, Andrew Roos, Ren Stekok, David Toth, Heinz Braun, Matthias Holken, Miguel Molina, Niels Benedict, Ronald VRS, Christopher Monroe, Mac Miller. The American finishing in 18th, as those are your top 18. We had 21 drivers finish as we're waiting for that second page of results to filter through. Thank you. Laurie Constant, Zamro Sanchez, and VL Roller are your finishers on track there, followed by Yorsen Mambuila, Paul Costa, Jens Hoffman, Matt Gulas, John White, Adam Pilo, and Attilio Tassi, unfortunately retiring with 13 laps to go. And that is your results for the VRS GT Sprint series here in a night lit Spa.
So there we go. That is your finishing grid order today. We don't have much time, as I said, so that, I believe, will be the end of the live stream from us here at Apex Racing TV. Another great week of VRS Sprint action, ready to kick off next week. And next week, I'm just going to quickly check exactly where we are. We are heading to Brands Hatch, so one of my personal favorite circuits in the iRacing service to race at. So it should be an awesome race. Just really ready for that one, and also ready for another week of VRS Sprint action.
Yeah, as the hype builds down from this, it's time to call it a night, and I hope everybody has a good night. We've certainly had a good race today, but it's just the start of a great week. Keep it on track, keep it fast. Y'all have a great time.